The views and opinions expressed in the Distracted Librarians podcast do not necessarily reflect those of Bloomfield Township Public Library, Bloomfield Community Television, the Birmingham Area Cable Board, or its producers or production staff.
Hello and welcome. We're the Distracted Librarians, your friendly neighborhood bookworms who can't resist the siren call of movies, video games, music, and everything else in the pop culture universe.
Think of this podcast as a digital campfire where we share our latest obsessions, analyze the hidden depths of our favorite distractions, and maybe rediscover the joy of reading in between.
So, if you're a fellow media junkie, a book lover, or someone looking for a fun, engaging escape from your daily grind, you've come to the right place.
Sit back, relax, and prepare to get delightfully distracted with us.
Hey everybody! On today's episode of the Distracted Librarians, we are going to have like a spooky campfire episode.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
We're going to gather around our metaphorical table. Well, we're at a real table, and tell our own real-life scary stories. Because stories don't just have to come from books and films.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
All right, but first of all, I'm Nicole.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Killian.
All right, so spooky stories from real life. Wow, this is a different episode, huh?
It is different. I think that we have to generate our own narratives now.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so where are we going to start?
Well, I have two stories that I've prepared to share with the group, and one of them is actually not my story, and one of them is my story. But what stories do you have? Did you bring?
I have a little bit about spooky spaces.
Ooh.
One of mine is about spaces as well.
Yeah, I think that can be a real thing.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we start there then, since you both have a spooky spaces.
Okay. Well,
Sorry.
I used to work at a library that was a really interesting library because the main library was built onto the back of a Victorian mansion.
Oh.
And that was probably one of the most interesting buildings I think I've ever worked in. I've worked in a lot of libraries in the Metro Detroit area. And so our offices were in the mansion on the upper floor. And then on the main floor of this beautiful building, there were magazines and different things. And so you could walk from the main library into the house, and you had access to all of that. And we would give tours and different things like that. It was a really, really cool building. Wealthy family built it in like the 1800s, late 1800s, and it just so happened to become part of this whole library complex sort of thing. And I had to go and be in that library very, very early in the morning. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I was the first person to walk through the door. And there's something about being in an old house like that early in the morning when it's still dark.
Oh.
And like the lights aren't on.
Ooh.
And I don't know. It was a feeling. I didn't actually see anything or hear anything or any of that, but it's just sometimes walking into that place would kind of give me like the goosebumps, like the hair rising on the back of the neck kind of thing. And it became like, I felt like the house became like a friend to me over time, but when I first started, I was like, ooh, this place has got like, I have some feelings about this place.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So with mine is actually a school. So I've talked about coaching color guard before, and we rehearse on weekends. We also compete on weekends. And because we practice in the district's middle school, there's not a lot going on in the school on weekends the way there is at the high school. So, we'll be in rehearsal and we'll hear noises from all of the HVAC system. And if it's really windy, you get that little bit of howling wind from the outside. And there's just a lot of weird sounds that make the kids and us as staff members jump. But when we are done for the day, we have to make sure all of the doors are locked and then go set the alarm overnight. And when we started there, we were rehearsing earlier in the day, so we never did this at night. We've shifted our rehearsals back to being afternoon, evening, partially because the kids are more awake then, so are we as staff members. And there's just fewer conflicts because when things are in the school, usually it's in the morning. Mm-hmm. But this was, I think, our first season running winter at this school district. So we weren't used to being in the school around all of the noises later in the day. But we got back from one of our competitions, and we knew we were going to be back late. So we had talked to the janitor who usually came in at night after our rehearsals were over. We were like, we're going to be back late, so we're going to be coming in. And we'll, having to figure out how to handle, like, disarming the alarm to get in, setting it when we leave, etc. And he was like, I will leave it disarmed when, I will either be here when you get back and it'll be disarmed, or I will leave it disarmed, but I will put this Post-it note on the alarm and I'll take it with me when I leave so that you know that I'm not in the building. Well, we got back. It was like midnight, 1 a.m, somewhere in that range that all of this was happening. Oh. So it's late at night. It's this big middle school. And it's the middle school, and there's also the, there's another building that's like attached to it with a lot of services for disabled students.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we get back, we get all of our guard stuff put away, we get the kids all off, headed home with their parents. And so it's me and this other staff member. We have to go to the alarm. We're like, okay, it's like crazy late at night. There's no way he's still here. But we get down there, and that Post-it is still on the alarm box. Mm-hmm. And we're like, okay, so did he forget it? Because it doesn't make sense that he'd still be here.
Right.
Right. But if it was disarmed, then the building's open.
The doors are still locked, but if someone came in with a key, they'd be able to get in without saying anything.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, he was going to leave it disarmed either way. Fine. However, but we didn't want to set the alarm while he was still in the school, because then the alarms would go off and it'd be a whole thing.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, we have to make sure that he's not still in the building. So we set off going through this entire building to make sure that this janitor is not in the building, and we're trying to figure out what to do. But anyone that we have contact information for, we have so much more contact information now. Now we would easily be able to text the heads of the facilities and a bunch of people. We know a lot of the janitors. We would know what's going on. Mm-hmm. We did not that first season there. So we were going through the school, and so a lot of the windows are mirrored now for safety issues.
Right.
But then it's you move and you see yourself move very clearly through this window.
Gosh, no.
And there's lights that are always on in the building, and there's others that aren't. Yeah. And of course there's the weird flickery light. And then there's a section that has all of the services for disabled students. They also have things like wheelchairs sitting around and things like that.
Yeah.
It was such a weird liminal space type thing, because you're used to schools being full of people.
Yeah.
And so for it to be completely empty and dark, and you're still getting all of these weird HVAC sounds and wind sounds, and then you're seeing things move out of the corner of your eye. Mm-hmm. We were so on edge this entire time. We finally are I don't think he's here. We're just going to go. And if the alarm goes off, we did our due diligence.
Yeah.
We probably, looking back, we're we did more than our due diligence here.
Oh my gosh.
But we were so spooked, and we still tell the kids about this. And the ongoing thing in this winter guard program is the school is haunted. Never mind that we can explain all the noises, but the school is haunted.
Well, that was so well described, because I can just see the flickering light with one wheelchair sitting unused down a hallway, and just the hello, trying to find
the echo of the empty room.
Yeah.
We're going through calling for this janitor too, hoping that if he is around, he'll just say something and we can turn around and leave.
Yeah.
But
oh my gosh,
it was a whole thing. And we found out later he had left and just forgotten that he put the Post-it note there and
yelling in a silent building, calling for someone in a silent building is just not.
It's not good.
That's very scary. I don't like that. But and I also worked in your story reminded me, Nicole, I worked in two, like archival historical institutions, during library school and then just after. And both of them were rumored to be, inhabited. And it was the same kind of feeling. One of them was attached to a library in a similar way that you described. And there was a resident or a member of the family of the original family who had built the home, had passed in the home.
Okay.
And there was a certain section of the upper floor that I didn't like going into because it's where the bedrooms had originally been. And I was like, I don't listen, you can be there. I'm just in this office over here. Like, I'm not going to cross this threshold. Like, it was the same kind of creepy. And you can easily argue that, like, oh, I psyched myself out, but it had weird vibes. Yeah. It was a weird feeling. It was one of the offices in the other, historic home that I had worked in as well had that same, inhabited feeling.
Basements in general are creepy.
Extremely.
My basement is creepy, and I would venture to say that it's probably just a typical 100-year-old house basement.
Yeah,
it's not anything. There's no reason for it.
Right.
But the thing about going into the basement of this house it was in Wyandotte, there's something just different about it. Like the house was way more than 100 years old.
Right.
It was built like a castle. We're talking stone, walls and all of this stuff, and practically a dirt floor that we're walking on. And there were weird tables and chairs and stuff, like library ephemera that was down there that just makes it even more spooky than anything else.
Yeah, that's very creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something about places with a lot of history, and it's like a lot of history that you weren't there for and that no one alive was there for.
Because you don't know.
You don't know what it was.
Yeah, it's truly the unknown.
And you're like, I don't know what could have been left behind by history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of ancient, ideas, one of my stories is, it's a story I brought. It's not really my story, but I'm sharing it with permission. It's actually my brother's story. My brother's name is Nathan. And it concerns the phenomenon of sleep paralysis. Has anybody here experienced sleep paralysis?
I haven't.
Mm-mm. Okay. So this is not me trying to be pedantic, but for the folks at home, if you have not experienced sleep paralysis, it's a biological, psychological thing that your body does sometimes, and it's a disruption in the sleep-wake cycle. So when you're in REM sleep, sometimes your brain will wake up before your body does. And usually your body and your brain are in sync during REM. I'm not a psychologist, okay? This is just what I think. I think I'm explaining this okay. So your body and your brain are in sync, so you don't thrash around or you don't move, you don't act out.
It shuts off your body so that you don't freak out or start walking around and stuff like that. Generally,
yes. So what happens with sleep paralysis is the conscious part of your brain wakes up suddenly out of REM, but your body doesn't. So your body is lying there, unable to move because your muscles haven't activated yet. And so because you've just been dreaming, the imaginative sensory part of your brain kicks in and is like, would you like to see a demon spirit at the edge of your bed? Because you're gonna. And so the concept of sleep paralysis will sometimes conjure these images or sounds or whatever because that part of your brain is awake and your body is not.
Sure.
So I had sleep paralysis only once, and I didn't see anything or hear anything because I was aware. I took psychology in college, and I was like, I'm aware of this. It's something we talked about, and we had just learned about it. And I was like, ooh, I know what to do. Keep your eyes closed so you won't see the demon thing or whatever.
I love how you learned about it in school, and then your body was like, well, let's just give this a go.
Way to apply that learning. Amazing.
Yeah, do I get extra credit for it? So I was having this dream, and I woke up, and I felt like a hand pushing underneath my rib cage, pulling up under my ribs.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, well, this is unpleasant, but I think it'll go away because I think it's sleep paralysis. And so I started moving my hand. I'm like, focus on moving one body part, because sometimes if you can move your fingers or wiggle your foot or something, it will kick your body back into gear. Anyways, that's our crash course on sleep paralysis. What we're actually talking about is what's called the night hag. And the night hag is a supernatural creature that's commonly associated with sleep paralysis. And where you feel this presence of this like supernatural or malevolent being that immobilizes you. And this is the concept of the night hag is it's proliferated in like all cultures across time, whatever.
Like I had never heard of this, and then I was like, all right, I'm Googling this because Emily's going to talk about it. And I couldn't believe, there are literally stories of this night hag person called a variety of different things, but like all over the world.
Right.
I love folklore that's everywhere, though.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating.
Yeah.
And then the Occam's razor of this, of course, is just like, well, we all sleep.
Yeah.
Like, our bodies all do this.
Yes.
So, of course, we're going to have this zeitgeist experience of, like, well, we all see the weird thing at night because your body's doing the thing. And we just have, depending on, your understanding of things or your cultural understanding of things way back when is going to influence what you call it.
Yes, of course.
Anyways, the point is that my brother once saw the night hag. And I had told him about sleep paralysis, and he was like, that's interesting, whatever. And then one day, we were talking, and he said, I saw the night hag. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, I saw the night hag last night. And because I had told him all about this, and I was like, oh, please tell me all about it. And so I've brought my brother's description of the night hag, which I will now read for us all. The night hag is horrifying, says Nathan. I woke from a nightmare while sleeping on my back and found I couldn't move my arms nor my legs. Hovering over my bed was a gaunt woman with impossibly pale white skin, dark black hair, and hollow black eyes. I don't remember her making any sounds, but I remember her reaching out with arms that were bony and white with fingers and joints that were too long. I remember her opening her mouth and there being teeth that were sharp, but not cartoonishly sharp or anything. She had long, stringy black hair and a dress or a gown that was sort of morphing into the darkness around it. I remember finally being able to close my eyes, but knowing she was still there watching me.
Wow. I don't know how I feel
Terrifying.
about all that.
I hate that. And to make it worse, our mutual friend Brian he also had sleep paralysis and described seeing the same thing.
Wow.
Which is horrible.
Yeah, that sounds
And I hate
terrible.
it.
No, I don't. Okay, well, if this thing is like contagious in some way and I start doing have this thing too, we're going to have another episode about the night hag.
I'm so sorry, anybody.
But hey, it's a good PSA. If you experience sleep paralysis, try to keep your eyes closed.
Yeah, keep your eyes closed, and it is more common. Sleep paralysis is more common in folks who sleep on their back.
Oh.
And I think it has something to do. They theorize it has something to do with respiration or whatever. So any back sleepers, just keep your eyes closed.
Just great.
But yeah, so that's the night hag.
Wow. What a story.
Apparently.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So I am a big fan of watching scary movies, and of course, I weirdly, for some reason, end up watching most scary movies when my husband is away. So in the evenings, I put my kids to sleep. My husband is out of town or whatever, and I'm like, this is my big chance to watch something terrifying, and I put it on, and I almost always regret it because what the heck am I doing to myself, scaring the absolute crap out of myself before I go to bed, and I don't have my person there to help me or assist me through whatever may come from that.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the time that he was out of town, and I had been watching something, I don't even recall what it was, but I had spooked myself pretty good. And, the kids were asleep, and I'm getting ready for bed and everything, and we have this, LED light situation in our bedroom, and he would change the colors of the lights sometimes, and he could do it remotely from his phone. So he was just messing with me. Oh. But I'm going to bed, and our entire bedroom is just blood red. Because he had changed the light to this blood red color. And I'm just cursing him from afar, how dare you do this to me right now? This is not cool, man. So anyway, I went to sleep, after I cursed him.
Yes.
And I went to bed, and everything was fine. I didn't have any nightmares or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But in the morning, when I woke up, one of my children's balloons, a red balloon, actually, had drifted up from downstairs and was bobbing around in my upstairs bedroom when I woke up, and I was like, I hate everything right now, because like it was so like, great, Pennywise is here, like this is the end. I'm gonna be floating away down some drain somewhere. Catch me later. So, like, you know, sometimes now I have to think about, you know, what am I actually doing to myself if I'm home alone, and, you know, maybe watch something fluffy instead of spooky. Yeah. My gosh.
How did the red balloon get there?
We all float down here. Dude.
Maybe just don't bring home red balloons anymore.
I don't even know where it came from. That's the thing that sucks about it, is that people don't understand what it's like having children. They have balloons. Those balloons will live forever. They live forever, and they like pop out at you at the most inopportune moments. Like, I'm going downstairs to do laundry, balloon coming at me from the side. I, you know, look underneath their bed for something, balloon pops up from underneath the bed. I'm like, why? Why is this happening?
That's such a foreign concept to me. We were not a balloon household when I was a kid, so we didn't just have balloons all the time. We occasionally did.
Neither, but my kids want to like keep them forever.
Yeah, well, you have to. Dan
and I will, like, when they're not around, we just go around like popping all the balloons and trying to like throw them in the trash, because they don't care. They just know they're there, and it's like a comfort to them.
Well, but I was gonna say too, like, that makes it worse, because it's just sort of like the popping of the balloon is obviously a deeply disarming experience, particularly when you don't expect it to happen. So if you have balloons all over your home, I would be a wreck constantly, because this is sort of like the sound of balloon popping is going to happen anytime. Like, that's frightful.
Yeah, truly. It's them popping out at you, literally popping out at you.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
awful.
Okay, so my next story, this is going back to, I don't fully remember when this happened. I might have been in high school. It might have been like a summer I was home from college. I don't think it was summer, though. I think it was either like spring when it's still cold, or it was like fall just as it was getting cold. Because I vaguely remember the trees in the area not having leaves. It's been a minute. But my friend and I had decided we were going to go to this park in the town that we lived in / grew up in, and just go for a walk, because the park had some really cool trails. We're like, cool, amazing.
What could go wrong?
Exactly. This is a totally normal thing to do. It's not like a stroll, crazy early in the morning.
A stroll through a park in spring / fall is a normal and regular, like, peaceful activity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and it's not a weird time. So we show up, and things immediately are just weird. Because we get there, and there's this little, like, picnic pavilion, as parks tend to have, at the start of the trail. And we get there, and we see this, like, slumped over shape at one of the picnic tables.
I hate it.
And we're both like, what do we do with that? Like, is it a person? Well, if it's a person, we should call someone.
If there's an emergency, or if someone's ill, or...
But we don't know. And, like, logical adult Killian brain is like, we should have just called someone.
Right.
And it had to be after my junior, like, we had to be in high school. I had a cell phone. It was after the point where I had a cell phone, because I did not get a cell phone until I turned 16. But it had to be after that. So it's like, do we call someone? Yes. The answer is yes, we should have called someone.
Right. But
no, that is not what we in fact did.
Oh boy.
We are like, okay, well, if we get a little closer, maybe we can actually tell what's going on. So we get a little bit closer, and a little bit closer. And eventually we're up next to it, and we realize this is not a person. This is just a random dummy.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And we're like,
why?
Okay.
A random dummy at a pavilion at a park?
Dressed in, like, winter-esque clothing. Like that's
a scarecrow?
No. I couldn't even... I think about this constantly because we have no idea
Yeah.
what was actually going on. I don't remember it being scarecrow-like,
Okay.
but I couldn't tell you exactly what it was anymore. It's been too long.
Yeah.
But we were like, okay, and decided to just go on our walk. But, like, I remember very clearly, obviously not a ton of details about the dummy itself. I don't remember much about the walk. I remember it being in the back of my head the whole time, like,
Yeah.
is this some sort of, like, horror movie thing?
Like a prop.
Is this a prop? Is this, like, someone trying to lure people into investigating something?
See, that's what my head went, yeah.
Yeah, what is going on? Am I being punked? Like,
What's the deal with the dummy?
whole walk. And we had to go back that way when we left, and it was
Right.
gone.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
Oh, that just makes it even more weird.
What? It was gone.
Did someone come retrieve their dummy?
No idea. So to this day, I have no idea.
Was it the size of a human being?
Yeah. Like
Nope.
an adult. It
No.
looked like it was an adult human, like, male.
No, I don't.
Slumped over.
No.
Like, it was not small.
and it was gone.
It was gone.
Oh, boy.
No, Killian. Where did it go?
I don't know. So I still this is not a constant thing that I think about, but it's not an infrequent thing that I remember that this happened and go, huh, I wish I knew what that was. Like, I wish I had answers.
What happened to that dummy that we saw that one time? Yeah.
So,
Wow.
But now it's going to plague the rest of us our whole lives.
I'm so
It's just
sorry.
sort of like, well, what happened to that dummy?
I don't know. Maybe the podcast will get to someone who it will sound
Maybe they
familiar
know
to.
about it.
And someone can give
Let
me an
us
answer.
know if you know anything about this dummy.
If you or someone you know have seen the dummy, like, please call in. Like, it's
There's a thing in the Lansing area, you know.
I mean, it's that kind of stuff that's just like weird and unexplained. That's like,
I hate
what
it.
the
I need
heck?
explanations
Like,
for
it's-
things.
Yeah. So the other story I have is unexplained simply because I don't know how it works, which is not unexplained. I'm just ignorant. So this is a story about this is a modern horror story about generative AI. So generative AI is one of those things, we all are sort of vaguely, I guess, familiar with it, where it's just like you tell the AI to make you a poem or a song or a picture or whatever, and you just put in a prompt and it gives you a thing. Well, I was playing around with a generative AI program just for fun. And I had recently seen like an illustration from some ye olde like book of this woman wearing like a Rococo style dress with the wig and the feathers in her hair and all this, and like this very elaborate, and I was like, I wonder if I can get this AI program to generate an image of this woman that I saw in this illustration from a book from the 18th century or something. Because that's the fun kind of thing you do on a Friday night, guys. I mean, obviously.
course.
So I don't remember exactly the prompt that I put in, but it was sort of like a general like woman in Rococo style dress, blah blah blah, whatever, with a wig and like feathers in her hair or something. And I remember getting back some image of something, and I was like, well, that doesn't look enough like the thing that I told you to make, because it's a computer program. It's only as smart as the prompt that you give it. So I obviously...
Information you give it.
Right, and so I was like, not giving it enough information. That's the gist of the story. It gets weird where I started, and again, I understand vaguely enough to know that the prompt that you give it is like, it's going to keep trying to give you the thing that you want. So if you keep telling it the same thing, it's going to keep giving you a version of the same concept. I understand at least that.
Yeah.
The part that this gets weird at is that every time I tried different words to get this picture of this woman in a wig, it just kept giving me the same person
Okay.
over and over and over again, to the point that I kept reducing the adjectives to just like the lady or the woman or her. And it kept giving me the same face over and over again. And I did this like once a week for fun because I have no life. And I was like, I wonder if it can give me that face again. And it just kept giving me the same face over and over and over. It didn't matter what computer I used. It didn't matter what like descriptive I did, nothing. It just kept giving me the same face over and over and over again. And I downloaded some of the images and I brought them here today for us. And I understand, I'm sorry, listeners, I know you won't see her, but we can see her and we can look at how weird it is. So this is the first one and we can like,
Okay.
so generally to describe, it's this woman with a fairly long neck with like her hair's parted in the middle. She's wearing some sort of like red headdress and she's giving the camera sort of like side eye. And then, so I ask it to do, this is the first time I tried to do this. And so we get another image and it's kind of the same thing. Like she's wearing a weird headdress, you know, she's got this necklace on. She's kind of giving the camera side eye because AI is not good at making human eyeballs.
Right.
And she's got
Or
this
hands. The hands are like the creepiest things in the world.
And she has this, notably, she has this like cleft in her chin, as we can see. I didn't tell it to do that, but this is what it did. And so now we have a headless woman with no hands, with some sort of weird dress on, with the same kind of collar, but no head, it's just a body. And I was like, this is not what I asked you for. You just gave me a headless person. And then I kept asking and asking, and then it did this.
Oh.
So this is the same general woman, cleft in her chin. She has this weird headdress on, and the dress is always red and blue. But in this picture, she's holding a knife.
And
Emily,
also
she
looking
doesn't like you. She's mad at
distinctly
you.
sinister.
I know. She does not like me.
No.
I don't know who she is, but she does not like me.
Wow.
So, and I was like, okay, well, that's enough generative AI today. Goodbye.
Yeah.
See you later, lady. But then the next week, of course, I'm like, let's do it again because I'm insane. And so I keep, and like, it's the same. Like, here she is again. It's the same dress. It's the same. It's her.
It's the same woman in slightly different fonts, but she's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same middle part, the same hair color, the same irritated expression, the same cleft in her chin. It's the same woman.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. It's just her.
Yeah.
And so it's just her.
Oh boy.
It's weird. I know. And she gets like progressively.
That's the one again. It's the spooky, like when things started making a turn downhill.
Yeah.
That's her.
Exactly. Right.
Like she looks like she wants to like eat your young.
Yes. She does. Yeah. Now in this particular image we're looking at, her hands are crazy and she has no pupils, but
I don't like this.
no, I don't. It's weird. And now this one looks like she's making a pizza. I don't know what that's. I don't know. But she just is so over me. Mm-hmm. Like it's just.
Yeah.
And
I
then
suggest you leave her alone.
I know, but
Yeah.
like she just gets. She's so done. Like
There's a horror story waiting to happen.
Right?
Like,
I know.
I feel like that's gonna be a movie or a book.
It's
someday.
so weird, and it's weird because and I keep using the same program, but I will put in like the lady, or I'll put in her, and she appears.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't like it.
It's super weird. And again, I know that there's like a ghost in the machine element to AI that I don't understand.
Sure.
Because it's not my field. I'm just an idiot dabbling
Were you
around.
sassy with it? Like, did you get snippy with it, and now it's punishing you or something?
I don't know. I think
I'm always like, please and thank you, because we all
Yeah.
know what happens when the computers take over the world.
Oh, right.
Like,
I always try to be very polite to AI, but like, I don't know if it just got tired of me asking the same
Yeah.
thing over and over and over again. And since that time, it's just like, oh, it's you. Like, you weren't happy with my image the first time. Like, and I don't know if it's that or it's just, I've unlocked some sinister,
Yeah.
like,
oh boy.
like living within generative AI that's now
Whoa.
haunting me.
That's craziness.
I don't like it.
It's weird. It's weird. Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you, Emily, for the nightmare fuel.
You're so welcome. And then, so when the night hag comes to me,
Yeah.
she's gonna look like
that. Oh my gosh.
Look like this.
Oh my gosh.
Is that worse than a dummy in a park that walks away, or
Man, I don't know.
questions we'll never be able to answer?
Truly.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Distracted Librarians.
If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to reach out to us at distracted@btpl.org.
Until then, keep those pages turning and those screens lighting up.
We'll catch you in the next episode.